Today on Inquirer, Sandiganbayan acquits Janet Lim Napoles in 16 graft raps relating to pork barrel scam. Fire hits Manila Central Post Office, at least 7 injured, 300 million pesos worth of assets lost. Land Transportation Office Chief J.R. Tugade steps down from post. Philippine government eyeing to revive food stamp program with help from ADB, according to President Bongbong Marcos. And oil companies set to hike gasoline, diesel prices effective Tuesday. Kerosene to roll back. Good evening. The Sandiganbayan acquits convicted pork barrel scam mastermind Janet Lim Napoles in 16 counts of graft raps relating to the pork barrel scam. In its decision released and dated May 22, Sandiganbayan's First Division dismissed the cases against Napoles for the failure of the prosecution to prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt in terms of violation of Republic Act No. 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. According to the Sandiganbayan, the alleged acts were predicate acts of plunder for which Napoles was already convicted. Senator Bong Revilla was acquitted of the same cases in 2021, similarly due to the insufficiency of evidence. Revilla was also acquitted of plunder stemming from this case, but Napoles and Revilla's former aide Richard Campe were convicted. The case stemmed from accusations that Revilla funneled 224 million pesos of his Priority Development Assistance Fund or PDAF to bogus non-government organizations owned by Napoles. Sandiganbayan said in the promulgation last December 2018 that the prosecution was unable to prove that Revilla had a hand in the transfer of PDAF funds. A fire razed the Manila Central Post Office late Sunday night, leaving at least 7 injured and around 300 million pesos worth of assets lost. According to the Bureau of Fire Protection, among those hurt were 5 firemen, a volunteer, and a civilian. No fatality has so far been recorded from the fire that was confirmed and raised to the first alarm at 11:41 p.m. on Sunday. The BFP adds that the blaze may have damaged around 300 million pesos worth of assets. Flames were put under control at 7:22 a.m. on Monday, more than 7 hours after the fire was confirmed to have started. The BFP says the fire reached the highest alert level of general alarm at 5:54 a.m. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Meanwhile, the Philippine Statistics Authority says a number of Philippine identification cards were possibly damaged by the blaze, adding that only PhilIDs for delivery in the city of Manila were affected. According to PSA, it would replace a PhilID at no extra cost if it were lost in the fire. The State Weather Bureau is currently monitoring Typhoon Mawar, which may enter the Philippine area of responsibility and intensify into a super typhoon. Joining us live is Pag-asa weather forecaster Daniel Villamil. Sir Daniel?
Good afternoon, Neil, and to our viewers here at Inquirer.
Sir, ano ang kasalukuyang update natin dito sa minomonitor natin na weather disturbance na ito?
Opo, so sa kasalukuyan may minomonitor tayong bagyo na nasa labas ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility. Isa itong typhoon category na may international name na Mawar. At kanina alas 3 ng hapon, huli itong namataan sa line 2,275 kilometers silangan ng Mindanao. Ito ay may taglay na lakas ng hangin na malapit sa gitna na umaabot sa 140 kilometers per hour at pagbukso na umaabot sa 170 kilometers per hour. Kasalukuyan itong gumagalaw pahilaga-hilagang kanluran sa bilis na 15 kilometers per hour. Wala pa naman itong direktang epekto sa anumang bahagi ng ating bansa sa susunod na 24 oras.
May nabasa ako kanina, Sir Daniel, hindi pa sinasabi, nabanggit mo nga, wala pa itong direktang epekto ngayon sa ating bansa, pero may posibilidad na mag-develop ito into a super typhoon. Pwede niyo po bang ipaliwanag yun?
Opo, within the next 24 to 48 hours kasi medyo may kalayuan pa nga ito sa kalupaan. In general, itong ating mga bagyo kinukuha ang kanilang lakas o yung energy sa ating karagatan. So within the next 24 to 48 hours po, posible pa ito mag-intensify or mas lalo na makas pa into a super typhoon category, and by Friday or Saturday ay posible itong makapasok na ating Philippine Area of Responsibility.
Lalapit po ba ito sa kalupaanan ng ating bansa, at kung lumapit man po ito, Sir Daniel, ano yung mga areas o mga probinsya na tinitingnan natin sa ngayon?
Opo, sa ngayon maliit yung or nananatiling maliit yung tsansa ng landfall ng nasabing bagyo sa anumang bahagi ng ating kapuluan. Yung mas magiging concern po natin dahil once na mas lumapit nga ito sa ating landmass, ay posible na itong paibayuhin or i-enhance ang tinatawag nating southwest monsoon, yung habagat na siyang posible magpaulan sa kanlurang bahagi ng ating bansa. So kahit may kalayuan po ito sa ating kalupaan, or regardless if mag-landfall man ito or hindi, yung western section po ng Luzon at Visayas, including Mindanao, nakaranas po ng significant amount of rainfall by the end of the week.
Ano na lamang po siguro ang paalala natin sa ating mga kababayan habang bilang parte ng paghahanda para dito sa bagyong ito?
So since may kalayuan pa po itong bagyo, and sa mga susunod na araw wala pa naman itong direktang epekto sa atin, patuloy po tayo mag-monitor ng mga updates sa pinapalabas ng Pag-asa ukol sa sama ng panahon na ito. As early as Wednesday po or sa Miyerkules, posible na po tayo mag-release ng Tropical Cyclone Advisory ukol sa nasabing bagyo once na pumasok na ito ng ating Tropical Cyclone Advisory domain, and magbibigay po tayo ng 6 early issuance ng Tropical Cyclone Bulletins once na pumasok na ito ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility.
Maraming salamat, Sir Daniel. That's Pag-asa Weather Forecaster Daniel Villamin. Land Transportation Office Chief J.R. Tugade steps down from his post. Zakarian Sarao has the report.
Jose Arturo Tugade had stepped down from his post as Chief of the Land Transportation Office after taking over the agency in November 2022. Tugade cited differences in the LTO and the Department of Transportation's public service, giving DOTr Chief Jaime Bautista, quote-unquote, the free hand to choose who he can work best with. It can be recalled that Tugade, during his tenure as LTO chief, faced several issues, including the shortage of plastic cards for driver's licenses and another shortage in vehicle plates. However, Tugade has clarified several times that these issues spanned even before his stint as LTO chief. Meanwhile, Bautista has yet to name a replacement for Tugade, but said that he will submit to the Office of President his recommendation, quote-unquote, while aligning efforts to the mission of the department. He then expressed appreciation for Tugade and his stint as LTO chief, noting his pursuit of service innovations at LTO, which he said benefited the public. This is Zakarian Sarao reporting for INQUIRER.net.
The Philippine government is eyeing aid from the Asian Development Bank for the revival of the food stamp program. President Bongbong Marcos says this was among the topics he discussed with ADB President Masatsugu Asakawa and other senior ADB officials.
One of the things that is in the pipeline that is being developed that is going to be of great assistance to our people is a proposal by the DSWD for a food stamp program. Which I'm surprised we have never had. It is something that we can see that's been effective in other countries.
Department of Social Welfare and Development Secretary Rex Gatchalian previously brought up the idea of renewing the food stamp program in a bid to reduce the incidence of hunger among the poor. The program is aimed at giving coupons to low-income families and individuals, which they can use to avail food items. Marcos also discussed with ADB its partnership with the Civil Service Commission on Digital Technology and other large-scale projects.
Now, the scope of the ODA assistance that we get through ADB has now increased. And we are talking about agriculture, we are talking about reskilling and retraining, we are talking about, of course, climate change and its mitigation and adaptation. They have been an essential part of all our development plans, and they have been a robust and strong and reliable partner in the development of the Philippines.
President Bongbong Marcos says, quote, the worst is over for COVID-19 and the Philippines can now focus on developing its economy. Marcos makes the statement after the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 is no longer a global public health emergency, citing swift breakthroughs in virology and vaccinology.
With this development, we can now refocus our plans and priorities and train our sites with renewed vigor. Carefully guided by the stinging lessons of the pandemic, we can now refocus our priorities on the development of our economy and the betterment of the lives of ordinary Filipinos.
Nevertheless, Marcos says the Philippines would not abruptly abandon its health protocols amid the developments in the pandemic. The president recalled in September last year he had highlighted the need for the Philippines to safely navigate through the waters of the post-pandemic world and anchor its economy on the better normal.
The pandemic did not blur our national vision that was already very clear to us even before it supervened. Our goal remains to be the same as in pre-pandemic circumstances. Our goal is still to evolve our economy into one that is defined by sustainability, climate resilience, responsiveness, and, of course, inclusivity.
Senator Robin Padilla is again pushing to reinstate the death penalty in the country, this time targeting law enforcement and elected officials implicated in illegal drugs. Padilla has filed Senate Bill No. 2217 to amend the Comprehensive Dangerous Acts of 2002. This is to include capital punishment for drug-related offenses by members of the Philippine National Police, Armed Forces of the Philippines, and other uniformed or law enforcement agencies. Under Padilla's proposal, elected officials who contribute, donate, or profit from drug trafficking shall likewise be executed without prejudice to removal from office and perpetually disqualified from holding government positions. He notes, however, that capital punishment shall not be inflicted upon a woman while pregnant or 1 year after delivery or any person over 70 years of age. According to Padilla, the Philippines is in a state of insecurity due to a startling surge of illegal drug cases involving law enforcers and elective officials. Senate Bill No. 2217 is Padilla's third bill in the 19th Congress that calls for reviving the death penalty for specific crimes in the country. The death penalty for heinous crimes was first imposed in the Philippines in 1993, but this was stricken off the list of penalties prescribed by penal laws in 2006. The Philippine Coast Guard says 13 people sustained minor injuries after a collision between two vessels in Mandaue, Cebu. According to the PCG, passenger fast craft MV St. Judiel and cargo vessel LCT Poseidon 23 clashed in the waters off Barangay Look on Sunday. Authorities say the passenger fast craft had steering casualty and engine failure, causing it to collide with the cargo vessel. The PCG says 13 passengers suffered minor injuries. The passenger fast craft had 197 passengers aboard, while the cargo vessel carried 20 people and 17 rolling cargoes when the collision occurred. The PCG immediately deployed amphibious and land vehicles, including an ambulance, to provide assistance. The Coast Guard's Marine Environmental Protection Force of Central Visayas was also dispatched to conduct an oil spill check. Local oil firms announced a hike in the pump prices of gasoline and diesel, while kerosene prices will roll back. Starting Tuesday, May 23, the price of gasoline would rise by 80 centavos per liter, while diesel would go up by 60 centavos per liter. Meanwhile, the price of kerosene will decline by 10 centavos per liter. This marks the second consecutive week of price increases for gasoline and diesel. The Department of Energy says the price increases are due to companies worldwide racing to shore up supply of petroleum products amid rising global demand. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Irvin Santiago ng Bandera. Irvin?
Hi Neil at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe. Ito na nga ang latest Bandera Chika. Hindi na nahirapang mag-adjust ang TV host comedian na si Bossing Vic Soto nang magsimula silang magkatrabaho ni Maha Salvador sa bago nilang sitcom na Open 24/7. Ayon sa TV at movie icon, halos 2 taon din silang nagkasama ni Maha sa Itbulaga, kaya gamay na rin nila ang ugali ng isa't isa, lalo na pagdating sa batuhan ng punchlines. Kwento ni Bossing, magkababata at halos magkabatch sa showbiz si Maha at ang asawa niyang si Pauline Luna, bukod pa sa mabuting magkaibigan talaga ang dalawang aktres at TV host. Bukod sa trabaho, may mga pagkakataon din na nagkakasama sila sa mga mahalagang okasyon dahil nga close na close rin sina Maha at Poleng. At mas lumalim pa ang friendship nilang mag-asawa sa actress-dancer nang maging bahagi na ito ng Itbulaga. Saludo rin ang veteran comedian sa pagiging versatile actress ni Maha na caring-caring maging bida kontra bida sa mga teleserye at magpatawa sa live TV pati na rin sa comedy show na pinagbibidahan nila. Nabanggit din ni Bossing Vic na perfect choice si Maha sa bago nilang sitcom sa GMA7. Sa katunayan ng sabihin sa kanya na ang dalaga ang napili bilang leading lady niya sa Open 24/7 ay napanatag na ang loob niya dahil naniniwala siya na mabibigyan nito ng hustisya ang kanyang role.
Si Maha naman, we were together for almost 2 years sa Bulaga, no? Sa Bulaga. So, tapos kababata pa na si Pauline. Di ba? So, close sila ni Pauline. So, hindi na sa iba sa akin eh. So, maybe nagkakasting kami, kasama si Maha. So, palagay na kagad ang aking loob. Dahil, alam natin na she's a versatile actress. Hindi lang magaling umarte, magaling kumanta, magaling sumayaw, malakas na eh.
Thank you, manager.
At yan ang bandera chika natin today. Thanks, Neil.
Maraming salamat, Irvin, and these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.